Hello everybody, my name is Imanithos, and welcome back to In a Nutshell. Today we're talking about the next frame alphabetically in order, Harrow. Now, I am not an expert Harrow player. I was the first person to say this, but I know how Harrow works. And knowing his mechanics are halfway to understanding how he plays. So, Harrow is a warframe, more often known as the masochistic frame. But his abilities are Condemn, Penance, Thurible, and Covenant. Covenant, yeah. And then his passive is his overshield capped is doubled. So whatever his overshield cap is, he gets it increased by 2 times. So his first ability, Condemn, gives him shield for each enemy he hits, and roots them for 6 seconds at base rank. So things like this. All of a sudden you see my shield just went up. Now, at the same time, it also raises their heads up in the air, giving you a good way of sniping. Now, I'm using a very powerful weapon, so I probably should not be doing so. The second ability, as it stands, is Penance. So he destroys his own shields to increase his reload and fire rate while converting damage into health for himself and allies. So as you can see, it increases his duration by an additional 1.25 seconds for each 100 shields. He gives him 5% lifesteal, a good amount of fire rate, and reload speed. So if I do this now, see that I have 0 shields all of a sudden, and it's just like a lightning bolt to 2 other people. That was interesting. As you can see, kind of a neat way of getting those low reload speeds or low fire rate weapons kind of up there in the air. Now his next ability, Thurible. Thurible is... he channels his energy into a buff, and the buff is like kind of an AoE, very similar to Equinox's. You can kind of see where the edge is. And the more energy channeled, the greater the reward for each kill. Headshots produce extra energy. So it gives a 5% energy conversion. If I spend 100 energy, it will give me a 5 energy back per shot. Or per kill, sorry. The duration is 35 seconds at base. It's a radius of 20 meters, so you'll see it, and the head muscle multipliers by 4 times. So if it was 5 energy per kill, it would instead be 20 energy per headshot kill, which I'll showcase right here. Look, 5.2, pretty much what I said. So you can kind of see the area of effect. It's this white flame that you can see at the edge. Now if I make a kill, 20 energy. 20 energy. For headshot kills. But if I shoot him in the leg, wow, it's 5.2 energy. So again, all the allies within that white flaming wall are affected by the skill. So kind of cool. Now, in order to really see what the fourth ability does, we'll have to actually unpause the AI here and simulate. So the fourth ability, Covenant, prevents damage for that time of that duration and converts it into critical chance. Oh, that went the wrong way. As you can see, I'll probably die. Woo! I'll probably die because, Harrow is pretty weak when he's facing about 20 level 30s. But so Covenant's ability, or effect, is it protects all nearby allies with an energy that absorbs all damage and converts it into critical chance bonus. Headshots are further amplified. So instead of doing only, what you saw about 20-some%, it was somewhere close to nearly 100% for my headshots. So if I reduce this to 1 Lancer, keep him at level 30, unpaused, go in, all 4, wait for it, 10% chance, boom. So it's a really useful skill to use when you have a good, well, even if you don't have a good crit chance weapon. And it's even better if you have a good crit chance weapon. So most people who run Harrow will run him with a rifle or a secondary, maybe even a melee weapon that has a good, strong critical chance. Now the Lanka is a weapon you can pick up in the dojo, and it is about 20. It's a 25-25 split for crit and status, which means it can be built both directions. Most people put in things like Serration. If you have the ability, target acquired is a fantastic one for use for Harrow because you should be getting the headshots anyways. Of course, Point Strike for 62% crit chance. And then moving down the line, you want to do something that increases your fire. Because the higher your fire rate, the lower your charge rate takes, as you can see. So things like speed trigger and whatnot. You also want to increase your reload speed if you don't have Harrow. But then again, Harrow kind of makes it not necessary. So besides that, if you have something along the line, where is it? I know it's here somewhere. It's the mod that increases your crit damage. There it is. If you have Vital Sense, get Vital Sense. It will make a world of difference. And then, of course, you can always also build it entirely for status chance on top of that, which is kind of ridiculous. And with this build right here, I have corrosive damage, and it also is a 62% chance of critting and a 55% chance of status. So I'll show you the difference between the base weapon and what this weapon can do all by itself. It does 4,000 damage without critting. If it did crit, which I can show you a little bit more clearly in just a second here. So we'll just go ahead and simulate. $75,000. Now remember, in most situations, you're going to have a much higher crit multiplier or percent multiplier from your Covenant than 5 or 6%. You're going to have something much, much higher than that. Now, you also can build Harrow a couple different ways. You can build him... Now, I haven't formatted Harrow at all, so this is his basic aura polarity and polarities on his frame. So you can use, of course, Energy Siphon. You can do, Shield Disruption or Corrosive Projection, or even Loot Detector, or Rifle Scavenger gives you more ammo. So those are all, or Pistol Scavenger, Enemy Radar, those kind of things. Those are all great ideas to run with him. We're just going to go ahead and throw on Energy Siphon for the fun, and then we're going to look at his mod slots down here. Now, obviously, I have a reactor in him, so this is going to be a little bit different. But as per usual, we throw in our Intensify, and we throw on our Continuity. Now, I'll show you what happens when I do this, just so you understand. So when I throw on the Continuity, it increases the duration of this, and since it has a little bit more power, it gives you more shields on hit, this is more lifesteal, reload speed, everything else. And if you notice, the reload speed is already to 100% increase. That's pretty good. Now, a lot of people will actually specifically run Harrow, with a lower than average duration. They'll keep him at 100% or try to maintain 100% perfect. They don't want to go much higher than that, because if they do, it will actually affect his usefulness in certain circumstances. Like, for example, with the Eidolons, when you're playing Harrow against Eidolons, you don't want to run them with super high duration, otherwise the protection duration and the retaliation duration is going to make it so you can't use his ability when the Chroma is one-shotting the Hydralisk or the Gargantuan gigantualist or whatever else is, their body parts one at a time, he might be hitting those body parts one every 20 seconds. And if you're doing that, you won't have enough time to recast your covenant, which will kill your entire party, or at least greatly hamper them. So covenant you can build him for Eidolon hunting, which is going to be very different than building him for the star map. The star map, you might build him completely for covenant. You might give him maximum duration, a good amount of power strength, and then keep your efficiency okay, so that you can keep your thermal going. But beyond that, you just want your duration and your power strength. But if you're looking for someone who can just control an entire area, you might go for range to increase that condemns range. Or you might go for increasing the thermal radius. These are all things that you can do to build Harrow. Now, personally for myself, I have this configuration A, which is his Eidolon hunting build. As you can see, it's low duration, moderate power strength, range, and efficiency. Because you need to have that efficiency. With this, we'll kind of build him as I would normally build for an economy build, something that I'm pretty sure most people have. Since he does take a little bit of damage, Rage or Hunter Adrenaline is a good idea to have with him, because he has ways of regenerating health and healing his energy, which is fantastic. So giving you an additional way to keep your health as a source of energy is a good one. In your Vazarin tree, the best one to do would probably be Still Fiber, or running yourself with more vitality. Or if you really want to increase your durations of things, actually redirection is a better choice. Because the way Harrow works, his shields get converted into increased duration for his second ability. So if you're looking for some way to give him longer durations, you might think about using redirection actually over vitality. So we'll keep him with redirection on him. We'll move over to my Naramon side of things. Again, with Naramon, you might want to go Flow for that additional energy capacity, which gives him the ability to have a larger energy regen buff. On top of that, maybe you want to run something like Augur Reach again, because having that increased range is pretty good. Maybe some increased duration for his skills. And of course, well, more stretch. So this is the economy build that I would probably recommend for people if they could do it. This would be the best build I can think of off the top of my head for most people in the circumstances of early star map whatnot. This is going to help you out the most. You'll have a good selection of efficiency to your abilities. As you can see, you're going to have a pretty good, strength, reload, and fire rate increases, and even the crit multiplier is going to be fairly good. So now that he's changed a little, now we've got these two modified, and the Lenka will modify it there. So now that we have those things modified, we can go ahead and increase the Lancer's difficulty to, say, 60. Now, this isn't a truly accurate test because, even a level 60 enemy is... Ooh, I don't have enough energy for that. That's not good. But see, with a higher efficiency and the higher conversion, you can get a better... One shot. You can get more energy per second, or more energy per kill from his Thurimbol. So we'll go ahead and touch this. We'll get rid of the one Lancer. And we're gonna bring in 8 of them. Because more likely than not, you're gonna be facing parties between 4 and 8 people at a time. Look at that. All that damage is completely ignored. Waiting for it. Red crit. Through a wall. There we go. Now, obviously, the Covenant didn't last that whole duration. But as you can see, using Covenant definitely gave me a massive advantage. And having a good weapon with a good amount of crit was super beneficial. As you saw with one of those shots, the numbers were red and rather high. And that is because, as most people know, I wouldn't say as most people, as some people know, as your crit chances get above 100%, which they can do, you start going into higher levels of crit. Now, at 125% crit, for example, you have a 25% chance to have a super crit, which is yellow. Well, not yellow, but orange. And then maybe you'll have a 2% chance for a red crit, which is like twice as powerful. I think it goes regular crits, as you can see here. Well, hold up, not the place for crits. So regular crits are going to give you about 4.4 times multiplier, where a yellow crit's going to give, orange crit's going to give you somewhere around 8, and then a red crit's going to give you even more than that, so closer to 16. So they're incredibly high amounts of damage, and they're useful to have in all circumstances. So when you're playing with Harrow, remember to run a weapon that has either a very high fire rate with, high crit chance, or, a sniper rifle that has maybe a lower or a charge shot, but still has a very high crit chance, because that's what Harrow lives for. Now, as for where Harrow comes from, it's a little tricky. So Harrow's parts, you might have found them picking up from place or place when you do like void missions or the void rifts, because he drops from corrupted enemies. On top of that, his other parts drop from something called, where was it? I'll go ahead and go back to my orbiter here, and I'll show you the mission types where he comes from. That'll make things a little bit easier for everybody. Yes, I want to leave this in room. What am I doing there? Okay. So his headpiece comes from a place called Pago, and unfortunately, it's a really kind of a hard place to go to because it's on the Kuva Fortress. So right here. So it's a Pago spy mission. This is where his neuropics come from, his headpiece. His chassis comes from corrupted Void Fisherman enemies, so you'll probably find them all throughout here. Now, defection missions are where you'll find his systems, and his defection missions can be found in a lot of different places. I think there's actually one here. Maybe not here. Maybe it's on higher level. Oh, there it is. So Susi. It's a defection mission, and defection missions are you protect these. You protect certain enemies from other enemies, if that makes the most sense. You get a squad of allies who might be, in this case, are Grineer, and then the other Grineer are trying to kill them, and you move them to the extraction point. And it's not the extraction point for you, it's the extraction point for them. So there's like drop ships that come in, pick them up, and every so many number of them is considered a wave. Now, the wave, or round more accurately, and the round you want to wait for is round C, which is most endless missions go A, B, B, C. So basically, like in defense missions, C rotation is your 20th wave. When it comes to survivals, it's your 20 minutes. When it comes to the excavations, it's your 4th excavation, and so on. That's what's called rotation C. And rotation C of the defections, I believe, is the 4th groups of people that have been saved. So that's how you get the systems. And then lastly, the Chains of Harrow quest itself is what gives you the main blueprint for Harrow. So not the easiest of warframes to acquire, but at the same time, considered one of the strongest warframes for the star map, and definitely one of the good support frame and kind of tanky frame for the whole rest of the game. So everybody, I hope you've enjoyed watching this. It's been quite an interesting time. I think before I will end, actually, I think the Steel Meridian has a couple augments for him. Let's see if we can find them. They should be here somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe not. There's Nidus. Maybe the Arbiters have it?
What can we do to help your journey?
I think this is there it is. Lasting Covenant. So headshots increase the critical chance bonus duration by 3 seconds. And then Warding Thermal, which allies take in range take 40% less damage while channeling, and it grants an additional half an energy per charge whenever damaged. So if you were doing like I was doing, you run in there and you're spinning your thing around, before you know it, you'll have additional energy dropping onto that. And this is a good mod actually to pick up for Harrow, especially if you're running him more of as a support or a tank. Covenant is for if you're doing these endless missions and you just want to keep your fourth ability on it as long as you can. So I've given you an idea of what his abilities do. How he plays is kind of iffy, up to your personal preference on that. I've shown you his augments and where you can get them, which are the Red Veil, by the way. You get them from both the Red Veil and apparently Arbiters of Hexus. And then I kind of give you an idea of where the missions are for picking up his parts. But again, in order to actually be able to build him, you have to be able to use or get to the quest for the quest of the Chains of Harrow. So until next time, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.